Hey, everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
All right, we're finally here to review the complete second season of My Adventures with Superman, which I mean, like, I don't know how many different ways we can say we love this show other than just we love this show. The show rule. um, nitpicks here and there. We'll get into that a little bit later, but for the most part, I mean, and we got confirmation just over the weekend that season 3 is in production. So
Yes.
it is coming. So season 3 is coming. Thank God. Because like while I do, and you and I both agreed with this on this, while the season did end in such a way that if this was the final episode forever, it's fine because it's because I think they said they set out with 2 seasons in mind, hoping for a third. So like if they left it here, great, because we can pretty much pick up where we can pretty much figure out where it's gonna go from here for these guys.
Yeah.
But if they're continuing with the season 3, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. No, I think my only moderate concern would be at this point is that once Supergirl showed up, she's definitely in the show.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, I don't care if she's there per se, but it's called My Adventures of Superman. Now, are we starting to slowly get into what happened with like Green Arrow and Flash, where there are so many characters we're following? Now we're not following the leads. So
I don't necessarily think so. I think there's a lot of different things you can do with Supergirl.
Yeah.
You can, you have her stick around for a little bit and then you find a way to have her go off and do her own thing. Maybe we enter the thing where maybe that's how we introduce the Amazons and she does that thing where she goes and hangs out with the Amazons. Maybe we get the Legion of Superheroes thing. Who knows? We can do, they can. I'm not going to try to predict with this show anymore. I'm done. I'm done trying to make predictions with this show. Because if you had told me that Slade Wilson was going to be Lex Luthor's new head of security, not on my radar, even remotely. So yeah, my only real nitpicks with this show are mostly just, every once in a while it felt a little too much like an anime or a little too contrite like Superman stories tend to. There was a couple times the writing with Lex Luthor got a little but I don't like I'm even with the finale, like I think like yeah, it was the power of teamwork and friendship ultimately that saved the day. And I mean, I'm here for that to an extent. I would like a little bit more of like how they actually did manage to break through Brainiac's barrier other than just they loved each other enough, but it's Superman. His powers are very much based around his will. So, which is why did he ever get a green ring? I know we got a yellow ring.
No.
Did he ever get a green ring?
No. Well, I think the only thing for me kind of talking about that is that you've seen him defeat Brainiac so many different ways, but we've never seen this be the way. So I guess this show seems to constantly do what has everybody else done? We're not going to do that. So I think that's what I've enjoyed, like that I recall. I don't think they did the Jimmy and Supergirl in the previous animated show. Like with
now I'm trying to remember what the previous animated show was,
which is the Superman the animated series from the Bruce Timm one from the late 90s.
No, like, I'm partway through a rewatch of it and I don't remember that ever coming up.
I don't even think he's in the show.
I
don't even think Jim. Do you need me to give you a second?
No, you're fine. Keep talking.
Okay. I don't even think Jimmy Olsen is in that show that much.
He's in the show. He's in there. I mean, he's there beginning to end. He's not like, I mean,
he's not like this Jimmy.
Well, no, but no Jimmy's ever been like this Jimmy. He's in there about as much as Alfred is in Batman.
Oh, okay.
I think. I mean, he's in there enough to be Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
It definitely becomes more Clark and Lois focused as things go on, but Jimmy's there. Yeah.
Okay. But no, I think that's I like as much as I'm kind of on you is like there's a lot of the animes where love conquers all. So that it fits with what they're doing. But again, like I feel like what I really have always liked is they're doing something different. You can't, like you said, you can't predict what the next thing is like the fact that we were waiting for Zod to show up and he never shows up.
Yeah, we didn't get him at all. I don't know if I feel betrayed or just outsmarted. You know what I mean? It's like, was I
Yeah.
lied to, or did I just fall for it? Like, and I don't know if I'm mad one way or another, as much as I am just like, okay, cool. But like, can we get there though now? Like we teased that in season 1. Like, can we actually get there now? Like now
Yeah.
I'm at the point where it's like, okay, now we've earned Zod. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we've earned it.
Well, and I was going to ask you a question about this because I don't know why I can't remember. Did he destroy his own ship? So his ship is not there at his house anymore, right? Didn't he?
I think his ship self-destructed
Yeah.
was what it was. Yeah, his Kryptonian ship's not there anymore.
Okay. That's what I was
So,
trying to make sure of. I was like,
yeah,
so he can't go talk to his dad anymore.
yeah. I've got it up right here. So at the end of the first episode of this season, Superman fights Avery until Jor-El uses the spaceship's power to purify the kryptonite and convert it into a fortress. Before shutting down, Jor-El tells Superman to find a key to locate Kara, while Lois learns Waller is holding. So maybe it's not destroyed, it's just sealed off for the time being.
Turns into his Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, which is not that's honestly more common than not with super. I mean, that's what Zack Snyder did, more or less, to a lesser extent. I mean,
Yeah, kind of.
that's kind of how, I mean, yeah, his Fortress of Solitude has always kind of been a just yeah, how do you make a weird science forward ice fortress make sense? Even for Superman, it's a little weird. But yeah, it's I now I want to go back and rewatch the episode, because now I think, okay, maybe it was just maybe that Jor-El just meant that was the end of the AI program. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jor-El said something about it being like the last time they were going to speak, so I'd have to go back and watch to remember. But
Gotcha. Oh no, rewatch a great show again.
oh darn crap,
no.
what am I gonna do?
Yeah, I really think these last 3 episodes kind of did a good job of building on top of one another. Still being episodic, but you've got to watch the next one to see what happens. And some cool stuff. Superman in the all black was kind of cool with the weird super tech everywhere.
Eh.
I mean,
I had a love-hate with some of the design choices on this. And I understand it was them trying to be as different as humanly possible. But there were just the occasional design choices where I was like, that's stupid. And evil Brainiac possessed Superman look is kind of stupid.
It was weird. I mean, it's like you
kinda.
said, it's different. I don't know why this was black.
Yeah, I was like, why does he have a soul patch? I don't understand. I don't know.
Was it open
Yeah,
in the front?
I don't know what was going on. It was so odd. But well, speaking of looks too, let's Superman gets a new look, and we get our first look at Kara's Supergirl look for this show. I like Superman's new look. I don't love it. The shoulders are weird.
Yes.
Everything else about it I'm into. I don't mind. It's just the shoulders are a little bit weird, but I also understand they're going for more like traditional Kryptonian, at least for this show. It looks kind of more akin to like what we see like his father and uncle wearing in the flashbacks. So I'm a little more on board with it. Kara's look, however, I'm very on board with, especially the scarf cape. I really like the scarf cape a lot.
Yeah, I think what it kind of reminds me of, and even this animation style kind of reminds me of it. Did you watch the Voltron Netflix show?
No, I did not.
Okay, so there was like they did it's 8 seasons long. The first 5 are solid, but it starts losing itself. What?
Sorry, you said it's 8 seasons long, and I went into a fugue state of just like, oh, that's because my first thought was like, oh, maybe I should check this thing out. Then you said 8 seasons, and I just like I went down the mental the Will Hunting down the line snowball of trying to watch 8 seasons of this show, and it suddenly was just like, nope, not doing it. Nope.
Just watch the first 5. Even then, maybe the first 3.
No, I don't need another thing. I don't need
Yeah.
another thing right now. I'm already a week and a half till Cape Crusader drops. So
Yeah.
I'm
But
good.
my point is that like if you take one of those characters from that show and take the same character from the original show, you can tell it's the same person. It's just that the reboot, they intensified the tech.
Yeah.
So like they didn't have just black and white or red and white. They had like blues and grays. And I think that was what they did with the Superman. It's like because Superman's never had two different tones of blue on his suit. It's
No, it's
blue and red.
very anime. It's very anime,
Yeah.
and I mean that in a not in a good way or a bad way, just as kind of a statement of fact. Like
Yeah.
it looks like something out of an anime.
Yeah. So this is where like I think part of it's kind of cool, but there's also part of it like I need to understand why. Like
Mhm.
there's no rhyme or reason for this design, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So that's where I'm kind of like, okay, well, sure, that's it's tech, but I mean, at the same time, like you're saying, like it looks cool. The shoulder's a little weird, but it looks cool, and like I like this animation style, and I'll be interested to see how often he can change his costume
hmm
because he
yeah.
changed. How many times has his costume changed? 4 in the 2 seasons.
Well, no, because he only because for the beginning he was just wearing a hoodie,
Well, I mean, like,
and then he got the Superman suit.
yeah, but
And
then
then he
that
just wore
Superman
that.
suit could do other things that he didn't know about with the mask.
Well, that wasn't until he got on the Kryptonian ship with Kara.
Yeah,
And that was just when he went into space and told it to. I
yeah,
don't know. I think I don't know. It's interesting because they're taking a very again, this is where like the heavy anime inspiration, like we joked in season 1 how when he gets his first Superman suit, it's this like Sailor Moon esque transformation sequence, and it was hilarious. But we see that again with Kara, which because it seems like they're leaning into like the nanotech of it
yeah,
all, which is still dope. But you're right, like it does make me wonder, like because they've already introduced new power, a new power for him
yeah.
with that weird energy shield thing that still hasn't ever come back again, and I'm kind of okay with that, if I'm being honest. And then Kara had like a super scream in this episode, which is not unheard of with Superman lore. I
I mean,
mean,
look, when you're taking him with super strength, that's everything.
well, I mean, we quite literally did that with the Snyder cut, when the opening credits, Superman gets stabbed and he cries out, and it's that echo of his
Yeah,
scream that wakes up the mother boxes. So the Kryptonian having like a super powerful, almost Black Bolt like scream is not out of the realm of possibility. So
yeah. No,
I'm not going to draw the line in him being able to scream really loud when he can
yeah,
Kamehameha ice out of his mouth. Wah! That'll
yeah.
never not be funny.
No, I thought it was really cool. I liked like I said, I really like the episodicness, but also a longer story.
Mhm.
The last 2 episodes definitely were one big one. Um,
Yeah.
it's hard to have Superman who is an alien and not have his villains be the alien invaders. So
Yeah,
like
true.
there
That's very
there was
true.
because there's also a part of me that like you get into the weird MCU problem of like there's this gigantic spaceship hanging above Metropolis.
Yeah.
Nobody else showed up.
Yeah.
So are you
Well,
saying there's no other heroes? They didn't have time to get there before he fixed it?
yeah.
And like I'm not saying I want you to show the heroes, but there's definitely some of those world level threats where you would imagine like but I also don't know like if we're dealing with a Superman who's 23, 24 at the max, do we even have anybody else hanging out? And Batman's
Yeah.
not going to come from Gotham to
No,
fight
he's
an
not.
alien spaceship unless he's called upon to do so.
We do know that, I mean, we know Martian Manhunter's out there somewhere because that was
Yeah.
revealed in season 1, but he hasn't we haven't seen him come back.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to remember what happened to him after he left. We know where he went.
I don't recall to be
I
honest with
don't
you.
recall either, to be
Mm.
honest with you. But anyway, so we know he's there, and I mean, we know that. I mean, Gotham got name dropped a lot this season.
Yes.
Vicky Vale was in the show more than she wasn't, and I mean, even the finale has a big Gotham tease in it, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are we going? I this is a weird thing to say on a show called We Are the Batman, but I have conflicting feelings about Batman showing up in this show. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I think if they do it organically and he's only there for like if you give me a this thing happened in Gotham that has to do with Krypton, I go to Gotham to check it out, and
Mhm.
now I've got a 3 episode crossover with Batman, I'm okay with that. If Batman just shows up in Metropolis because he just shows up in Metropolis, or if he does it to fight Superman, then I'm gonna be annoyed. You
I
know?
just my fear, because this is the I think this is why the CW never why nobody ever wanted to commit to Batman, is because once you introduce Batman, if people don't like it, you're done. You're over. Forget
Yeah.
about it. Your show is done. If they love it, well, then the pressure's on to just make a make a Batman spinoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they introduce Batman in this, is it going to be so bad that people are going to then dump on the show for besmirching the name of Batman? It's weird saying that in that tone on this show, but or are they gonna is it gonna be so good that it's gonna take away from this show? Especially remember that we've already got Cape Crusader coming out here in a couple
Yeah.
weeks, and then Creature Commandos drops in December and launches James Gunn's DCU. I
Yeah.
would imagine that other than Cape Crusader, he probably doesn't want another animated Batman running around out there, other than eventually the animated version of his Batman that will exist as it needs to in their animated properties.
I mean, it like, look, this is definitely totally outside of his control from what it seems like. So
Yeah,
I don't know if he has a say in what they're doing. Um,
I don't know.
but no,
I mean, he's the head of DC Studios, so
yeah,
ultimately he has a say in everything. But I guess I don't know. Again, with Batman, it's one of those things. And I know we're getting a little lost in the weeds in the Batman about a Batman, getting worried about a Batman that doesn't exist.
yeah,
It is we had a lot of Gotham teases this season, and it just kind of has me going like we've already had a Martian Manhunter get introduced. We've already had Thanagarians and Green Lanterns to an extent get introduced. Um, it just kind of, and again, anything is on the table with this show. So again, it just kind of has this
yeah.
Vicky Vale's a character.
I mean,
So yeah,
maybe it'll be a Justice League thing. Who knows? Like I'm
yeah,
so far there is nothing they've done that's made me go, please don't touch this thing. I'm intrigued to see what it is they do, and maybe it'll be weird, and he'll go to Gotham, and Nightwing will work with him. Who knows?
weird.
I
I
mean,
do want to go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, as the weird random swings they've taken with the show, story content, character design, character, what the redos they've done. I mean, look, I never knew I needed an evil Supergirl who would eventually become a good guy. It was done so fantastically in the show. You almost feel bad for her, even the different times that she does dumb things.
You totally feel bad
Um,
for her. You feel bad for her because she just doesn't know anymore. Like
yeah,
the last X amount of years of her life have been a complete lie.
yeah,
I would imagine season 3, at least part of it, is going to be dealing with the ramifications of that.
yeah.
That's not something you just bounce back from after taking a nap for a couple of days. That's something that
Well,
I'm really curious to see what the integration of Kara into the routine of things is going to look like. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, and also like Zod was there with Brainiac at the end of the first season.
Yeah.
She knows Zod. She may not know she knows Zod, but she knows Zod. They would all be
Does she?
together at some point.
Were they?
I mean, he would know her. You know what I mean?
I'm saying I don't think Kara knows Zod's out there. It could very well be Brainiac was reporting back to Zod.
Well,
Because
I mean, I
because
just
it seems to me like Kara was under the impression that Brainiac was the be all end all.
well,
She never
yeah,
gave any impression that there was like anyone above him that she needed to be worried about. So it has me wondering if you might know Zod exists. Like
Yeah,
Clark has no clue who Zod is.
correct.
Kara probably at least knows who he is. She probably doesn't know he's out there though.
Yeah. So it'll be
So
so yeah, the third season, there's a lot of like obviously Lex is gonna be the main bad. Zod,
yeah.
we imagine, has to come back, even though we imagined that was gonna happen the second season.
Well, and Waller's still out there.
Waller's still out there. I have a feeling she'll be now that Lex is stepping up, I think Waller's involvement will decrease because I mean, all of her cool people are not with her anymore. You know,
Yeah.
you've got the inner gang with that hodgepodge inner gang, which I'm assuming is the inner gang because that's usually they use even
Entertaining
usually they're
slash Suicide Squad. I mean, they're kind of a mix of both,
well,
really.
because usually inner gang is using tech from Apocalypse. They're using tech from
Yeah.
Krypton. So anyway, my point more is
Well,
like you've got enough.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because there were several times when Brainiac's weaponry gave me major Omega Beam vibes.
Mhm.
And it's got me wondering again, because this show can do whatever it wants. Are we going to see some blending? Because we know that Krypton was at war with somebody.
Yeah.
Who were they at war? Who was Krypton at war with? Who
Yeah.
were they looking to strike? Who was Jor-El looking to strike peace accords with? Were they at war with Apocalypse? Like that tech felt very Apocalypse New Gods like.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe Brainiac was double dealing. He was dealing for both sides. You know what I mean? He was dealing for both, supplying weapons to both sides. We saw that in Doctor Who this season, just supplying both sides with weapons to keep the war going, to keep because he said he's bred for war.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. It's the
Yeah.
show. Like, oh man, I do want to talk too because you brought it up about like the changes with Kara too. Really, really like this take on Kara, man. Really like this more like she's this battle hardened, like warrior's edge Kryptonian, as opposed to just, she's always been just kind of a dumb teenager with
Yeah.
an attitude. Now it's like she's a dumb teenager with a chip on her shoulder. And
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I've always liked Kara as a character. This is far more compelling though.
Yeah. No, I think this is really interesting. It takes it you she can go out on her own. You
Yeah.
don't need she's not dependent on Superman. So I think having Supergirl this way, you can now have an episode, maybe it's just about Supergirl, then you have an episode just about Superman. I think it'll be interesting to see how she integrates into the Kent's family.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really
I've
cool.
always loved getting to see Kara with the Kents.
Yes.
Anytime we get to see Kara learning how, not how to be human, but just how to grow up,
Yeah.
basically. From Ma and Pa Kent has always been one of my favorite things. I love Kara when she's on the Kent farm.
Yeah.
It actually, and now that you mentioned that too, it makes me wonder if we will ever go the training her with the Amazon, because the whole reason of sending Kara away was always to teach her. She was always kind of afraid of her own powers, was to kind of teach her to be in control and how to not be afraid of her own strength. So I wonder if we'll need less of that and more of teaching her how to not be such a hard ass.
Yeah.
So we're almost going to need to help Kara, and that was a big part of this final of this season
Yeah.
finale, was like, helping the Tin Man find her heart, basically.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to be another thing we'll see come back in season 3, probably. I hate to predict
Yeah.
anything.
Well, because you also think like they've aged Kara up too. She's not a teenager. And that was the way in Superman the Animated Series, they kind of like, oh, well, she's staying on the Kent farm because she has to go to school and be a teenager. That's not going to be the case here. She is firmly there in Metropolis with them.
Do we know
So
how old she is though? That's the age. I am curious what the age is
if
on her
you in this show or in
in the
general,
show.
in this show, both of them left at the same time, same age. So she's the
Yeah.
same age as he is. That is what I
I
am
thought
taking from it.
I thought she was older when she left still.
They're both babies.
They're
They're
both
both
babies.
babies put in the pods and leave, so they have to be the same age in this show. Usually, she is a teenager on Krypton and leaves after. I mean, it depends. They change it every reiteration of it.
Yeah,
For the
you
longest
can kind of
time,
do that a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
for the longest time lately in the last several decades, it's been that she was a teenager on Krypton. She was sent in her own pod and was supposed to go the same place as Clark.
Mhm.
She gets lost. He doesn't, and then by the time she gets to Earth, he is he's older than her.
Well, yeah, that part's
But
kind
with
of always
this,
the same.
they just look like they're if you go by that
Yeah,
timeline, they're
I'm
both
looking.
babies.
I'm trying to scroll through the Wikipedia to see if it's anywhere on here to give me like an actual like number or something. But
I mean, they don't give anybody's
um,
number.
you know what I mean. Like, just give
Yeah,
me like a X number of years later or something. You know,
yeah,
um, film, television. This version is initially a warrior for the Kryptonian Empire and brainwashed servant of Brainiac. Yeah, it doesn't say. Okay,
yeah.
whatever. Fine, don't care. Anyway, I really like this take on it. Kiana Madeira, who is the voice of Kara, I really like her. I mean, all the voice acting on this show rules, but
Yeah.
um, um, she's done a great job as Kara. I like her, and again, I really like her costume design. I love the scarf cape. I love the glove look. The like the couple
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that gambit almost looking look of the
Yeah.
gloves is pretty cool. Yeah, and I I I'm trying to think if there's other characters I mean, there's so many characters we could talk about with this show that we haven't gotten in. I mean, let's talk about because we actually got it this season. Let's talk about this take on Lex.
I mean, you see
Not as
him
big.
getting bigger.
Yeah, not as big of a character as I was worried. I was worried
Yeah.
that he was just suddenly going to be this just be Lex Luthor. And there was one episode where I thought that's what they were doing, and they didn't. And I as I got to the end of the season, I understood more what they were doing, and I appreciated it more.
Yeah.
So he's gonna become more of a bigger character now. He's gonna have to be. We see that at the end of this season. LexCorp has a building now. Slade
Yes.
Wilson is his number 2. He's wearing a suit and everything. So I'm curious to see what Lex Luthor is a big bad in this show is going to look like, because that's going to be. I mean, we all know me. That's going to be an issue. We'll see.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I like as much as I'm not the biggest fan of corporate Lex Luthor. I think it makes the most sense when you have somebody who doesn't physically able to fight Batman, where they just become untouchable. I'm not
Mhm.
Batman, Superman. They can't fight Superman physically, so it's all these machinations. So to see him kind of building up to like he just keeps squirreling his way into these opportunities, and now he's fully got Let's Core, and now you get to see him like, okay, I'm not taking down Superman because I'm this violent, want to take over the world guy. It's because I believe he shouldn't be here. So
Mm.
I think it'll be interesting depending on what they do. But again, like we're running with the assumption that he's going to be the big bad. He may just be the same underlining guy, and somebody else comes in. Um, so I don't mind it. I like it, but I'm also like, all right, but when are we losing the hair?
I don't know. I don't know. Who knows anymore with this show? Who really
Yeah.
does? Who really knows? I'm really just I mean, I think I said this when we were talking about our 1 year out for Superman with Nicholas Holt, and I'll say it again with this show. And this is not meant to be a political thing. This is meant to be a personality thing. But I just don't want him to become a big Donald Trump metaphor, which is
Yeah.
always kind of the easy, safe path to take with with Lex Luthor. It's really
Yeah.
easy to just make him, wacko douchebag businessman who's a metaphor for xenophobia. Like, yeah, okay, been there, done that,
Well,
bought the t-shirt.
yeah. Well, that's why I think in Superman the animated series, I think he was good because there were times he would work with them because he was trying to help them stop things, you know, whether it
Yeah.
was Superman or the Justice League. So I think depending on how, like even in this, like he's trying to help defend the world. I mean, he does run away, but But
Yeah, it's
so
true.
I think that's
Which is
where,
typical. I mean, but that's typical Lex Luthor. It's like, I'm gonna get out of here so I can live another day. Like
yeah.
he's always looking out for himself before anybody or anything else.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like so far everything's cool. The Brainiac thing was, I've never seen Brainiac be quite as scary as he was in this show. You just
Bro,
like, you don't know what he's gonna do and how
can
he's
we
gonna pull it off.
can we talk about Michael Emerson as Brainiac? Like
Yeah.
that performance in this show. Like Michael Emerson just needs to play. I love Michael Emerson as an actor. He is such a good villain. If you've ever seen him in Evil, or even he's not even a villain in oh god, what was the network
Persons of
show?
interest.
Persons of Interest, yeah. Like he's just so good at playing that smartest person in every room character. Even when he was the Joker in Dark Knight Returns, the animated one, he's so creepy.
Yeah.
He's so, and his Brainiac was so unhinged. Like, yeah, what if we really explored Brainiac's god complex for half a season? Like, yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm
And
so here for it.
is he really gone? Like they kept
No,
that
oh
piece of him.
no, he's not gone. Oh no, Brainiac's never gone. If there's one thing you know, in the DC universe, there are three constants: death, taxes, and Brainiac's still out there somewhere.
Oh gosh. That end of the third season of Justice League was horrifying.
Oh
Something to
man,
say.
dude, that was my pitch for that was my when we pitched our do-over phase 1 of the DCEU. That was my pitch
Yeah.
for the big bad of the first Justice League was Brainiac.
Yeah.
Was you tease that from the end of the first Man of Steel. You just have those three dots. Everyone who's ever read a DC comic knows those three dots. You put those three dots somewhere and everybody knows, oh,
Yeah. This is happening. This is happening.
this is bad. This is very, very bad. That's up there with Ultron. That's up there with Ultron. That's not
Oh
a
yeah,
good
it
thing.
is.
So yeah, no, he's still out there because we Shrunken City of Candor.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for that to drop this episode, and it didn't. So
And will it?
that and will it?
Yeah.
Because even the end of Krypton itself was different in this. Because from the way he described it, and because again, they're taking some liberties. It took me longer than I like to admit before I realized that the thing he was putting them in was that Black Mercy. It took me far longer than I cared with it to be like, oh, it's the flower thing. Oh, duh. Okay. It almost sounds to me like he sent Krypton to the Phantom Zone.
That is what I thought.
That's
That
what it
is-
sounded like to me too.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't like reading the wrong hints from that. I got Phantom Zone vibes.
Yes. That's kind of what I was when he did that. I was like, he sent it to the Phantom Zone.
That's really what it felt like to me. Like,
Yeah.
if that's not what that was, then that's what it felt like.
Which, if you get into science, a planet can't exist without a star, and it would just means he killed him anyway. But
Well, but again,
that's neither here nor there.
again, we're talking about the Phantom Zone here. It exists in a quantum state. It's Schrodinger's cat. Who cares?
Yeah.
That being said, the Phantom does create one of my favorite closing of the plot holes in Injustice, but that's another conversation for another day. We got Steel, we got Metallo, we got the returns of Mala and Brain, who we saw rebuilding Cadmus with Kara and Jimmy towards the end there in the little montage. By the way, shame on Max for trying to close the episode while the ending montage was still going on. I had to close it and finish that. And I was like, why did you? There's so much more to happen. I was like, oh, maybe it's like one little scene that's gonna happen. No, it's like several minutes of show left. So I'm glad I sat through it because it was delightful. But yeah, man, I really don't know what else to say. I mean, I like what few negatives I had, I've already said. I love this show. I'm so glad that they're already in production on season 3 because I need it. I'm so ready for it, man. More of this, man. I want to live in this world some more.
Yeah. No, I think I'm intrigued to see how this world expands. And it doesn't have to be expand beyond Superman, Supergirl. Like some of the other, like we have gotten the lightest dip of the villain. Like what is Mongol in this world with Battle World? I am
Oh,
intrigued as all get out.
speaking of which, when one of the Intergang said it's just us and the main man. Tell me you
Yes.
didn't for like a brief second pucker right up because you thought Lobo was back.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
I was like, I sat right up. I was like, shut up. What?
Yeah, is he going to show up? That would be great.
I wish because this show's version of Lobo is good, and I want him back.
Yeah,
I want more of him, please. Yeah, man. More of this. Can't wait. Thank you guys for joining us for this special little bonus episode of we are the Batman. We'll be here when season 3 comes back around for sure. Hopefully we won't have as many hiccups in along the way with covering it as we did this time. Why do we make plans, Matthew? I don't know why we bother making plans, but yeah, really enjoyed this a lot. And yeah, more. And now we just got to wait a couple weeks for Cape Crusader, and then Penguin not long after that, and then Thanksgiving, and then we get Creature Commandos, man. The last chunk of this year. Captain America Captain America's February. The last chunk of this year, Deadpool notwithstanding, the last chunk of this year belongs to DC.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, guys, let us know what you thought of season 2 of My Adventures with Superman down in the comments. If you're here on YouTube, if you listen to us on the podcast, let us know on all social media. You can find the show on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook at WATB Pod. You can find me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
You can find me on Twitter as Mr. J Ninja.
That is going to do it for this week's episode of We Are the Batman. We'll see you guys again next time. Well, it's not really an episode, just our special review of My Adventures with Superman, but we'll see you again next time. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.